So I'm in Berlin while the team are actually in Bristol, but I just want to talk to you about just a straightforward relationship that you have with tenants. So we have a really super flat, a really nice flat in a great location. Tenant moved in with the boyfriend moved out. We redid the tenancy so it would just be in that tenant's name. Tenant then broke a bathroom door. Not quite sure how, but she did, and it took quite a long time to pay, to the point I was saying, it's going to be small claims court unless you pay. And then of course immediately she paid, because that's about self-preservation. And we've discovered a while ago that the tenant has a friend staying with them. Now that is illegally subletting until the point that they're part of the tenancy agreement. Now it's a 2-bed flat. We don't mind adding somebody else on, subject to our usual checks. But if you don't give us the data, you're illegally subletting. We haven't given you permission. Now this tenant has repeatedly not given any of the information across. We've asked for it multiple times, and instead we get sort of, oh look at this, trams, Berlin trams. We get, now I'm not going to say nonsense, but I am going to say nonsense of things like ladybird infestations. What? I've owned this flat for 10 years. In fact, it used to be an office. We used to use it as an office years and years ago when we started out. Mold. No, this flat I know inside out. Well, we were in it for a year ourselves. So we're just getting, what would I say, BS from the tenant. So we gave the tenant a deadline. We said, look, you've got 48 hours to provide the documentation, and they haven't. Now what do you do at that point? Me, I'm straightforward. We've been very clear, and there's a real reason for this, which is that currently they're illegally subletting because they've got somebody in there that we don't know anything about. They could be doing anything, and we're not insured. So we'll be fair. We'll ask many times for the documentation. We'll say, look, subject to the documentation or passing checks, we're okay about this. We'll then eventually give a deadline, and once the deadline, Berlin, once the deadline's passed, that's it. So I'm in Berlin, but I just checked the lettings emails yesterday, and they had some, ladybird infestation. Don't even talk to me about it. Don't be silly. Just send the documentation. So my view is today we just say thank you so much for being our tenant for a period of time. We're issuing a Section 21, which just means termination of contract. Why? Because we just don't need to contract with people that can't respect back the fact that she's putting my property in jeopardy because I'm not going to be insured because I have a tenant in there who's subletting illegally. So you see, I got no emotion to this stuff, and I want you as landlords to A, be fair to your tenants, but B, set the boundaries, and then have either you respect your own boundaries if the tenants don't, and hopefully your tenants will. We'd always be fair to tenants. I've never taken a penny from a tenant that wasn't absolutely justified in terms of, I like to return deposits. But nor will have a tenant give me nonsense and not giving me the paperwork that allows my side of the bargain, i.e. the property insured. So set your boundaries with your tenants, keep them, move on to the next much better quality tenant where you're not going to get silly little bits of nonsense rather than the paperwork back in time.